I've always enjoyed having a background in classical music, and I like to incorporate classical music with rock and with metal. But there's only some parts of metal that I really like, because I found that some metal is either super cheesy, and I like the super cheese, but I can't take it seriously. And when I'm listening to metal, like in the car with a buddy or whatever, we like to kind of joke around. Like, we like the old Iron Maiden, like from 1986, 1988. Although 777 is a great album, and I really like the storyline behind it and things like that. It's really cool. But like, you take a song like Alexander the Great from 1986, I mean, you can't take it seriously, but the background behind it is really awesome, because it's a whole history lesson. You learn all about Alexander the Great. So, and look at the music, like the composition in that album. Like, it's got great drumming, it's got great epic guitar solo and things like that, and that's one of the reasons why I love Iron Maiden. And I take the same background and the inspiration that I got from listening to Iron Maiden years ago, and I take that into something like Doombeard. And that's where we get a lot of the creativity and the story writing and things like that. And then we take also the technical background that me and Style and Gabe and Jason have. And it turns out that we have a really good combination of 4 different people, all with a different approach to the same situation. And what I found really helpful in managing a project like Doombeard is we sit together and we don't bring any instruments. We don't even really talk about music that much. We grab a pen and paper and we take minutes in these meetings, and we really get on a really deep creative level of thinking. And we also get some people that put on their creativity hat, and we go toe to toe. So we have, like, me and Dave will talk about the storyline in Doombeard, and we've got like a scary witch, and we've got like really super cheesy stuff. But then we also talk about the scary things that happened in this apartment with me and Jason, and he was doing some weird love ritual, and it freaked out this guy Tony, who was kind of sketchy and weird, but he was really down to earth, and something really freaked him out. And it freaked out Jason because the candles are burning like a foot high in his room, and Tony's going like, I like this, and he couldn't sleep, and he had to get out of the apartment. Weird stuff happened. But long story short, we dug deeper into it and realized that Jason did something he wasn't supposed to be doing, anyway, the story goes on. So we're taking that stuff all of it into our creative process, and we made this excellent story in Doombeard. And where am I going? So we got a great storyline. We've got some technical people who are listening to our proposal. Like, okay, so we've got the lyrics written, we've got the song written, this is how the song is going to go. That's great. We can all agree that, yes, the guitar solo is going to sound like this, the bass is going to be here, the drum's going to have awesome drum rolls. That's fine. Go up to the next level now in the recording process. We can all listen to the song, and each different person is going to have a different outcome about how the song is going to sound. That means that when the guitar solo comes in, your rhythm guitar is going to drop down a little bit to allow your lead guitar to come up over top in the foreground. The best way to give a good analogy about this is you have a client and a photographer. The photographer knows how to take pictures really well. The client wants something that the photographer can't do. You can do it, but it's not going to work, because you in a regular picture, you have something that's in the foreground and you have something that's in the background, and that's the way it works, because the photographer has a way of making your eyes go to what he or she wants you to see. That is the thing in the foreground that's in focus, right? Same thing with music. Your lead guitar is going to come into the foreground because that's what you want to hear. Everything else is going to drop down a little bit to allow the thing in the foreground, right? So each different person, let's say we got 4 guys here are going to listen to the track, and they're going to have a different outcome. And what happened was, although we did 2 recordings of this one song that I'm featuring in this video. The first one, we had a previous drummer, and we had a previous recording session. And anyway, it's in the past. We have a new recording session where the drums are amazing, the guitar is a lot more tight, things like that. But we can still go back to the original recording of the good recording and take out all of the effects, take out all of the inserts in Cubase, get rid of all that stuff and start from scratch. And we've done that about 5 times. The reason is because we learned a lot about foreground and background stuff. We learned about planning and what we really want to achieve in each one of these songs, and it's based on the storyline, it's based on the atmosphere that we want to create in the song. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why we have a storyline or a plan in each one of these songs, because we need to build the atmosphere. And I think that goes into any other different genre of music, whether it's Adele or dance music, or especially with dance music, where you got the majestic piano and a lot of like the trance and stuff like that. It's building an atmosphere, right? And the same can be said with metal and classical music. The way Cubase is programmed is with automation. You can automate everything in Cubase down to the smallest knob on any insert on any track. So you can go into the finest details of programming things in Cubase. You can have things turn on and turn off. You can have things turn up and turn down. It's beautiful that way. And you can go into so much detail, and the sky is the limit in what you want to do. That's a wonderful thing, but you have to know what you're doing. You have to have a plan. And I'm going to keep reinforcing that, because without a plan, you're going around in circles, and that's probably one of the biggest reasons why there's been 5 different versions of this song. A plan comes from the storyline that we have. It comes from the concept of the atmosphere that we want to build in this music, and that's one of the beautiful things I like about Doombeard, is creating this atmosphere. And one of the things that I find most important is the 2 sides to these meetings that we have, the creative part that we all have and the technical background. It goes hand in hand, and it's a great thing to have. So one of the problems that we've had most of all with the 5 different versions of the song is that we had to agree that you can't have the rhythm guitar and the lead guitar and the violins all coming through like this. It sounds epic in concept, but it sounds like crap in reality. And we had to realize that the programming had to be tightly controlled, and we had to just agree to realize that, okay, the violins have to come down, the rhythm guitar has to come through. And it sucks when you have to accept that. But so the 5th version of the song, it's been the best one, and I don't know how I had such a hard time accepting this, that let's say, for example, in the song you've got violins coming in your face, you got cellos, you got the whole orchestra, you have the lead guitar, you have the rhythm guitar. Well, all of that all coming at you all at once doesn't sound good. It sounds good in your imagination, but for some reason music production and audio quality doesn't work that way. Photography doesn't work that way. What we had to accept was that you had to make a choice. What do you want to come in your face? It can only be one thing at a time. So we had to cut out the orchestra so that it's there. But let's say, and then we chose, okay, well, how about the lead guitar? So the lead guitar is coming right in your face like this in the sound quality. And it sounds like shit. Well, why does it sound like shit? Because it's raspy and because it's staticky. And it sounds really annoying. These fast guitar leads just sound fucking annoying. Well, is it the sound quality? Is it the amp? Is it the playing? Well, no, it doesn't. It sounds okay. So then you're listening to it in the car with your friends over time and you realize, well, I want the rhythm guitar. I want the heavy sound. I want it to be catchy. I want it to go with the drums. So then the lead guitar comes down. It's there sometimes. And the lead guitar is now in your face. Well, hey, that worked. Then we have a little bit of the violins and the cellos in the background to back up the rhythm guitar. So it's like this. And I'm like, hey, that sounds all right. And then there can be a little bit of a lead guitar coming in, and the other things come down, so that everything is nicely, tightly controlled, and it's controlled chaos. And the drums are nice and loud, and they're up there, and everything's all nicely balanced, and holy shit, it sounds good. So that's the trick. How do you do it? With meetings, control everything. Just don't, if you have a great idea 5 months ago, don't lose that good idea. So have meetings. I guess, I don't know.